Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam's Sports Report and Sam's Learning Disability Day. Today we are going to do Dysgraphia Part 1. We did a similar series this last year, but we'll renew Season 2. Chiefs, but first we're going to go through the Chiefs. Chiefs kadarius Toney went off on it yesterday. The best thing he could have done is not respond in this situation, or if he had to respond, say sorry you feel that way and be done with it. But instead he cussed out the guy and acted like an idiot and said several cuss words, and the whole thing had to be bleeped out on A10. I didn't want kids to catch it, so if you needed to look up kadarius Toney and you'll get the video.
What is dysgraphia? Dysgraphia is an unexpected difficulty in writing in students who are otherwise intelligent and talented. Researchers have shown that as many as 1 in 5 students may be dysgraphic. It's important to know about dysgraphia because if students and their teachers don't know about it, they may think that incomplete work is due to a student not trying or studying. What's really happening is that there's a discrepancy between what that student knows and what they can get down on paper. Failure to recognize dysgraphia can lead to a lot of stress for students and their true ability not being recognized. Dysgraphia can occur by itself, but it also can be seen with fine motor and sensory difficulties, dyslexia, and ADD/ADHD. Dysgraphia tends to get better over time and usually can be helped a lot by technology and the right expectations and accommodations and sometimes therapy. Dysgraphia doesn't just affect English class, it affects every class because writing is required for taking notes, answering math problems, writing science reports, and so much more. It's important that a student with dysgraphia doesn't get marked down with low grades because his or her writing isn't neat, spelled correctly, or written as fast as other non-dysgraphic classmates. Students with dysgraphia should have other ways for their knowledge, thinking, and ability to be recognized. For teachers, the most common ways to help students with dysgraphia include the following. Number 1, reduce the quantity of written work. Number 2, allow extra time. It may be a lot of extra time in some cases. Number 3, allow students to type or dictate or use other types of technology. Number 4, assign a designated note taker or allow the students to record lectures. And finally, and most importantly, number 5, let your student know that you have heard a bit about dysgraphia and would like to help. Let them know that there's a lot about schoolwork that won't be easy, but together you will find ways to help. If you'd like to learn more about us, visit our website or check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Now we're on to dysgraphia. Dysgraphia is a learning disability that affects writing abilities. It can manifest itself spelling, poor handwriting, and trouble putting words on paper. Because writing requires complex set of motor skills and information processing skills, saying a student has dysgraphia is not sufficient. A student with this disorder, written expression will benefit from specific combinations and learning environments as well as an additional practice learning skill required to be an accomplished writer. You may also suffer from motor skills. Just having bad handwriting doesn't mean a person has dysgraphia. Since dysgraphia is a processing disorder, difficulties can change throughout your lifetime. However, since it is a writing development processing issue, children learn motor skills need to write while learning and then thinking the skills need to communicate on paper. Difficulties can overlap. If a person has trouble in these areas, additional help can be beneficial. Tight, awkward grip, ineligible handwriting, avoiding training, quickly sighing words out loud, unfinished paper, difficulty structuring grammar, writing to stay in place. Large gap between written ideas and understanding through speech. Other things I noticed, I grip my pencil too hard, growing welts in my fingers. It also may be hard for you to be good at sports, but if you work at them, you can be. I don't know if you're going to play Major League Baseball, but you can be better at sports. What strategies can you help with? The people with dysgraphia success generally strategies fall into three categories: accommodations providing alternative written expression, modifications changing expectations to minimize the weakness. Each type of strategy is considered an instruction. A person with dysgraphia benefits from both specialists who are closest to the person finding motor skills and support of processing and trying different ideas that work best. Using a computer and typing things can be better, but if you have a hard time spelling, you may want to use Max Speech. Here's how you do that. You press Command. You can do it either way, but I will on my keyboard. I do Command D. You can preset these settings. And here's how it's done. Football season. And that's how it's done. Practicing writing and letters with big arm movements improve motor memory. These also practice letters and numbers, encouraging proper grip or and positioning for writing. It's difficult for students to unlearn bad habits. Use multi-sensor technique for letters, shapes, and numbers. For example, speaking through motor skills such as B is big, stick, down, circle away from body. Introduce the word processing a computer, however, do not eliminate the handwriting for the children. While typing makes it easier to write, alternatively, the frustration of forming letters, handwriting is a virtual part of the person's ability to function in the world. Other organization of grammar ideas. A note taker would be a good idea for a class in college. Do not judge the timed assignments or on neatness in spelling. Have a student proofread a work after a delay. It is easier to see the mistakes after a break. So take a day break and then go back to it if you can, if your assignment's not due that day. Help students check off list, editing, spelling, neatness, grammar, clear progress of idea, etc. Reduce the amount of instead of focusing on written original answers and ideas. Have a student complete task steps instead of for all at once. Find an alternative means of accessing knowledge such as oral, visual projects, encouraging practice through low stress opportunities for writing such as diary making, household lists, or keeping track of sports teams. Use an outline when writing. This is a really hard disability. You will have to work with a teacher in order to learn. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam's Learning Disability Day. How's it going, Jason?
Well, pretty good for a Wednesday.
Been busy?
Yep.
The kind of that time of year, I guess, like busy with family, busy with work. You go back, you get 2 days off, and it's a short week, I guess.
1 day off.
Well, you didn't get third off.
Nope.
What'd you do for the fourth? Anything?
DoorDash.
You DoorDash?
I drove DoorDash. I didn't do anything. I just wasn't feeling it.
You drove DoorDash. You drove it.
Yeah.
Do you like fireworks?
I like them. I saw some, but it was just there's nothing new in fireworks. What can you explain? What new did you see in fireworks this year? Maybe different shows. I mean, which is
Yeah.
cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's just